I want to ask a question to everybody. How many people here are or have spent time building their personal brands? Raise your hand. Okay. How many people want to build their personal brands? For any reason, doesn't matter. To look cool in front of your friends, to make more money, whatever, right? Okay, cool. How many people have been building their personal brands for more than 1 year? Okay. How about 2 years? 3 years? Okay, a little less hands. How about 5 or more years? Like actually diligently blogging, doing something to get yourself out there. 5 years? Anybody? I think I see somebody over there, but the light is bright, so it may be illusion. All right, so what I'm going to tell you today is how to build your personal brand. It is not easy. It's going to take a lot of work, so don't expect things just to happen overnight. In fact, most of what you do for the first year won't really affect you in the short term. Year 2 will do a lot for you. Doors will open. Year 3, from my experience, you can move mountains. Sending an email to somebody cold, to an investor, to a potential job you're looking for, you could skip the interview. You can get the investment with just the idea. And that's what building your personal brand will help you do. Not that that's the only reason to build your personal brand. You can educate the market and whatnot. So what I'm going to talk to you today about is a little bit about me. I'm going to walk you through the basics. I'm going to talk about education and building relationships. Those are the 2 biggest parts of building a personal brand. And lastly, about the foundation. Like I said, it's not going to be easy. It's going to take time. And in fact, in the short run, you're going to get 0 ROI. So you have to be really committed to doing it in the first place. So let's start with who I am. I run a marketing agency called Web Profits. I also wrote a book back in 2015, an ebook on growth hacking called 100 Days of Growth. And it sold over 40,000 copies. And since I've been working on building my brand, actually I've been working on building my brand since 2014 consistently, blogging once a week, creating videos, and I just added more and more things to it to the point where I'm creating so much content, videos, podcasts, a lot more things to where I can't keep track of what's happening. But why I'm telling you this is that I'm in year 4, where mountains have been just moved and things are happening, so I can actually do a lot of things, doors have opened and whatnot. So let's start with the very basic things. This is easy. Everybody, whether you're going to invest in building your brand long-term or not, should be doing all of this. Just makes you look professional. It helps you puff your chest. It makes you look the part. It's like going to a wedding. If you don't have this stuff, it's like going to a wedding in shorts. Unless the wedding's on the beach, it's probably not acceptable. So first and foremost, create a simple website. Easy, right? There's lots of templates and whatnot out there. I can tell you all the different ways you could do it, but just go create a website. Get a professional headshot, right? Pay somebody $50, $100. It's not that hard. Look the part. Start blogging regularly or creating content regularly. Regularly could be once a month. It could be once a year. It doesn't matter. Create something. Have a base. Because education, like I said, and I will share with you a bit more details in a bit, is very, very key. It's the anchor of building your personal brand. And lastly, earn testimonials and earn social proof. What I mean is, get logos, places you've been featured, companies you've worked with, people saying nice things about you, of what you've done for them. And you don't just get those with the snap of your finger. You earn them, right? It takes time. So that's why building your personal brand takes time. I have somebody reached out to me about 6 months ago. I started doing YouTube videos recently, like a year ago, and recently I got more serious about them. And somebody reached out and said, hey, I love your videos, blah, 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 some more nice words. And he's like, hey, you're doing some things that are really wrong or things that you can do much, much better. Can I just help you? And so he literally just helped me for 3 months, and he optimized 4 or 5 of my videos, literally only 4 or 5, and it doubled my YouTube view count in, I think, about 3 months. It doubled the account. And so little things like that, for him, it was something he was good at. I gave him a really good testimonial. And essentially, he can use that to go get more clients, paying and whatnot. So it works really well. So like I said, education is one of the biggest keys of building your personal brand. With this, you can do the relationships. So let's start with a quote. Don't worry about trying to impress people. Just focus on how you can add value to their lives. That's it. when you educate people, you're adding more value. You're sharing something probably they don't know yet or they're looking for. So the best way to do this, the number one tip, is to write a book or an ebook. It doesn't matter. And I'll give you, my example is I wrote a book, an ebook on growth hacking. I wrote it on growth hacking as a marketer. I wrote it on growth hacking because back in 2014, when I was looking to do something big to make a splash, growth hacking was a buzzword that was going up. Now, I happen to also be a marketer, so I know the trade, but look for things that are trending up and write about them. First, immerse yourself in them and understand what it is that you need to do. Now, if you're lazy, sometimes you can be, or it's okay. You can use tools or people or services like Book in a Box. They will actually, it's Tucker Max's company. Tucker Max is a best-selling author. He's done a couple books. He has a company that will just pretty much write the book for you. They'll find the topics. You're obviously involved in creating the content, but they're doing a bulk of the work, and they'll also launch it for you. It does cost money, so pay to play, and I have no affiliation, but that's the shortcut. If you want to do that, it's the shortcut. Now, I'm going to share with you today 12 different tips just like this. I could say them in the 25-minute presentation, but it might take you months and months of work to actually get them done. And even if you do only one of them, it will still move the mountain for you. All you have to do is do it consistently. So let's talk about the next thing. Guest blog on industry blogs and large publications. Whatever you're in, if you're a developer, I talk to a lot of dev shops here. I talk to marketing agencies. I've talked to all different types of folks at this conference. And what I realized is there's a lot of places to blog out there. People are very inward focused, blogging on their own site, but when you have your own site, what you're doing is trying to build an audience, and that's incredibly difficult from zero. When you blog or create content on other people's sites, you're leveraging their audience. They already have traffic. You're just going to get a fraction of it. So that's the way you can just get a fraction at a time. Now, don't expect to go tomorrow and overnight write for Forbes or Inc. or any of the large publications. And frankly, those sites may not give you the value that you think you want. Those are great vanity sites, and they're great if you can commit to doing regularly, but you have to work your way up. So if you have no personal brand, you're just getting started in the industry, start at the bottom. Find any blog who accepts you. That's all you need. You need one or two, and you work your way up to the large sites. And over time, you can focus on building relationships, the second part of my presentation, and you will get places. But you need to do this consistently, and you'll chip away, again, because you're going to get only a fraction of people's of that audience it has. But if you do it enough, that fraction can compound into something meaningful. And if you have the excuse you're too busy to create content, which I understand, most people are too busy to do stuff, curate content. You don't actually have to be the source of information or the creator of information as long as you are the source. If you are helping teach the industry about something that you know what to do better than anyone else, then you can be and you can build a brand. You can still add value by just aggregating the best content. Now, you have to have a theme, and you have to look at your competitors to see, or who else has a newsletter or is curating content. But essentially, you can educate the market, but just by putting great content together, and maybe you have a little summary. Heathen Shaw has a great newsletter. Heathen has for years just been able to find incredible content. I'm not really sure how he does it, but all he does is weekly send people his newsletter. And you think, oh, it's Heathen Shaw, this guy has been building his brand, or he's been doing this for a long time. Yeah, but he's been consistently for the last 4 years sending a newsletter. And in the beginning, even Heathen had a small list, and now he has a bigger list, and it's grown, and it's grown. More people share it, talk about it. And I was featured on it one time, and I think I got a few thousand visitors, which is awesome. He must have a list of over 100,000. All right, now, one of my favorite new channels, well, it's not new, but something I'm doing more of, is creating videos and podcasts. Audio and video are my favorite mediums these days, or format, because when you do video, when you're live in front of people, you can see I'm passionate. I'm moving up and down. You might not be able to see my face, everyone, but in a video, you can see people's emotions. In audio, you can hear their tone. When somebody gets excited, on a video, you can see somebody's eyes light up. That you can't replace with written content. That you don't see that. And frankly, anybody if you're a professional writer, you have good communication skills, you could write on a topic you know nothing about by just doing research. On video, it's really hard to do. You can tell it's BS. You can tell that there is no depth. And so video can help you stand out. Vlogging is coming back with the rise of Facebook video. And I say Facebook because it's essentially you already have a big network. Even LinkedIn is doing this. You have a network of people, your friends, family, and that's a great place to start. You can market, you can get your videos to them. You can get feedback and get better and grow your audience from there. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. So why not capitalize on that? I rank on YouTube the keyword digital marketing, and it drives me about 300 new video views a day. That's pretty big. I didn't really understand what I did to get there, but that's a different conversation. Another thing you can do is, and this is really, really, really important, if you do nothing else besides build a website, maybe curate some content, build a list and email them regularly. If you're not going to email them regularly, don't build a list. It doesn't do anything. It's going to get stale, and the first time they hear from you, your click-through rate's going to suck, your open rate's going to suck, your unsubscribes are going to be really, really high. So if you don't stay in communication, it's not going to work. But it does work. It takes time and chipping away. And one of my favorite ways to actually build an email list is using an ebook. You can make a free ebook, and that was why that was the first recommendation I made. When you use the ebook, you can build an email list. In fact, I have a handful of SaaS companies, and when we actually launch the idea, or we create a landing page when we have an idea and we're building the software, we actually start by launching an ebook. And that helps us build our brand, helps us build an audience, helps us build an email list, so that a few months later, even sometimes a few weeks later, sometimes we intentionally delay our launch of a new product because we want to build an email list. And it's way easier to share content from a brand than it is about the brand. So it helps us actually build a large email list. And then we just continue to chip away, email them weekly. Monthly works too, bi-weekly, any other interval. Anything more than a month doesn't do anything. All right, let's switch gears a little bit, talking about relationships. So even if you've just done one or two of the things on the education side, the relationships here are going to be the things that go with you a long way. You don't have to be Gary Vee and have millions of followers and fans and whatnot, or have a lot of Instagram followers. That doesn't necessarily mean that's quantity. That doesn't necessarily mean depth. Doesn't necessarily mean you can do things, doors open, you can't move mountains. But if you focus on building key relationships, it can actually help you open those doors. So first and foremost, my best tactic I've used is actually hosting dinners. Everywhere I travel, and when I started doing this, I was traveling for a wedding, I was traveling for fun, like anywhere I went, even in my hometown, I just hosted a small dinner. I emailed people on LinkedIn. So what I did is, I'm a marketer, so I hosted like a VP of marketing, executive marketing dinner. So I try to find one or two people I knew in the space and got them to commit. So at the very least, we had 3 people or 2 people at a dinner. And worst case, no one else shows up. Hey, at least I have 2 people. From there, I reached out to people cold on LinkedIn or via email. I found people, like hundreds of marketers. I made a list, and I just reached out to all of them saying, hey, I'm in New York, we're hosting a private dinner, it's only for executive marketers, there's no sales pitch, nothing. In fact, dinner's on me, and invited them over. And I did this about 15, 20 times, and I added that to when I traveled for speaking gigs, I added that anytime I traveled for work and conferences I attended, and it amplified. Now I know a lot of people in a lot of different places, and not just know them like I've met them once at a conference, I've had dinner with them. I know about their family. I may not remember how many kids they have, but I know at some point, once I remember more about them, when I see them again, I know about them, I understand them. We had an emotional connection, and that connection, that is the key to building your brand. If you do nothing else, build human connections. Let's say you can't afford to do dinner, you don't travel. Well, volunteering at conferences, especially things like this, there are 7,000 registered attendants at this conference this week. If you're a volunteer, the odds of you running into a speaker, an investor, somebody that can help you just by volunteering are very, very high. I would say you're gonna run into dozens of those people. If you volunteer at the registration desk, you're gonna meet so many people. Just by going through the VIP room as a volunteer and helping people, you'll meet a lot of people. And it's not like they will remember you or you will build a connection there, but you can then use that to engage. You can maybe take that onto a future, like an offline conversation, or maybe add them on LinkedIn. And when you need something, or when, as you build your network and you may need something in the future, maybe it's time to ping them and say, hey, I met you here. Even if they don't remember you, at least you've met them and it's something you can use as an in. Great place to get started. In fact, a few people I know that are speaking, not necessarily at this conference, but regular speakers actually got their foot in the door and actually were able to speak at a conference, their first conference, because one of the speakers backed out, or I think he was like stuck in Australia, or like a flight delay or whatever, couldn't make it, and so they literally filled the spot with the guy who's a social media guy who's just volunteering, and so that's really lucky. And the more places you put yourself out, you'll get, the luckier you're gonna get. Offer to help industry leaders. Just as I told you about somebody who helped me with my YouTube videos, his name was Chris. I gave him a really awesome testimonial. If anybody ever wanted and pinged me saying, hey, I need help with YouTube SEO, I know a guy. I will help him because he's helped me. And the great thing about helping industry leaders or influencers, and remember, it's for free to get started because, frankly, no one's gonna pay. Maybe you don't have a name for yourself or a brand, but once you do that, they remember you, trust me. And you will be surprised. If you help a lot of people, you will be surprised how much you can get out of this. All right, the next thing is to email, and this is easy. Everybody here should be able to do this. It's getting out of your comfort zone, but it's something everybody can do here, is to email somebody that you are a fan of, you like, you admire, maybe you read their blog, maybe you like their videos, maybe you saw them speak, and letting them know. I just spoke at Pipeline Summit and the other day, and I literally got a ton of LinkedIn messages saying, hey, love your presentation, this and that and the other. They had a question. I was more than happy to help. And that's just, now I'll remember them because it's an actual conversation. Now, the next time I'm in town, maybe they get invited to the dinner or something of that nature. But it's so easy. Just send somebody a compliment. The other thing is you get used to and building a habit of gratitude. Because people, or maybe if they're blogging regularly, they're putting themselves out there. They're spending time. And showing that you care can go a long way. Somebody emailed me. I did a Mixergy interview a few years ago, and somebody emailed me and said, "I love your Mixergy interview. It really resonates with the situation I'm going through right now." And the guy was just going through a tough situation, and he explained to me the situation. He's like, "Hey, any advice?" And I was like, "Hey, look, I'm traveling tomorrow. Let's talk on the way to the airport." Spent 30 minutes with them and helped them solve a situation. So you can help people, and once you start sending these emails to influencers, helping influencers, they're gonna repay the flavor, and you'll be surprised how easy it is to get them to respond. You don't need to do much besides flatter them and be specific and share what the impact it had on you. Same thing goes here. Help people, even if they're not influencers, even if it's somebody sitting next to you. Helping people is very, very critical because you never know who that next person's gonna be, who that person is. I remember I gave up my seat. I was at a conference. This was early in my career, back in 2006. I gave up my seat for somebody. They just looked like they had a couple bags, and like, you know what? I'll stand. You sit down. And that person, I got lucky, right? That person was the head of marketing for Yahoo. And at my first agency, that's how we got Yahoo, giving up a seat at a conference, just being nice. And there's a good quote by Zig Ziglar. You can have everything you want in life if you just help other people get what they want. And it's compounding. It's this, the harder you work, the luckier you get. Yeah, because you put yourself out there. You do a lot of things to just help people. You connect people, and it works. If you have somewhat of a brand, if you're a startup, it doesn't matter if it's a software service, what have you, getting people together into a community is very, very, very powerful. Because that's the ecosystem they can talk. So I told you I did those dinners the other day, or like last year, I started about, I think in 2014. What I did was every time I ended the dinner, I sent an email out saying, thank you, great to meet everybody, blah, blah, blah. Here's some pictures, feel free to do what you want. Also, do you want to join my Slack group? And joining the Slack group, I have about 100, 112 people in there, and I communicate with them on a regular basis. They communicate with each other. More people keep getting added to it, even people I haven't had dinners with or met, because the ecosystem has grown. That Slack group has been one of the most valuable things for me. I get feedback from marketing, like landing page copy. I get feedback for ideas. I get to talk to other people who are in my shoes, who have a similar struggle. And that struggle is hard if you can't connect with other people that are facing that. But I have instant access because I created a Slack group. Now, Slack might not be for everybody. I think Facebook group is a great place because it's much easier for them to actually continue communicating regularly without you. So when you create a community, the first thing you need to do is first start seeding good topics and questions and seeding the conversation. But when you know you have a real community, it's when your people talk to each other and you don't have to seed it, and they just keep posting information and sharing conversations and whatnot. And lastly, just as I said, help people, connect people who could benefit from each other. VCs do this all the time. Influencers do this all the time. If somebody emails me saying, hey, I need help with YouTube SEO, I got the guy, right? It's just because I know somebody, but that's something that's always in the back of my mind to see who I can help. So help connect people because they will remember you. In fact, another example I have from that dinner, this was a dinner I hosted in San Francisco. I invited, about 12 of my friends, and 2 of them actually ended up doing business together. And they still credit me to this day to actually do business because I was the one who connected those 2. So you'd be surprised how little things can make a big difference. Now, I'm going to end with the foundation because building your personal brand is not easy. It will take time. It will not give you an ROI, remember, in the first year, but it will help you. So first and foremost, find your unique angle, a unique voice. Be different because you can never be the best other person out there. You can't be the best me too. It will never work. You can be the second best. But you also need just some sort of uniqueness to be able to cut through the competition. And there's a lot more competition because it's easier than ever to create a blog, to build your brand. Next thing is consistency. Like I said, 1, 2, 3 years. First year, 0 value. Second year, doors open for you. Third year, move mountains. I remember when I first launched that growth hacking ebook, I pitched a bunch of publishers. I wanted to actually write a book. I pitched a bunch of publishers, hey, would you be interested in publishing this book? Here's a little bit about me, here's the hook, it's a trending topic, what have you. Crickets. This past Christmas, I got a publisher reached out to me, and now I'm working on a book deal, all because they saw me consistently. Turns out they continue to watch me from that time I pitched them, and they said no. Actually, they said, hell no, that's a dumb idea. I did it anyways, but that's another topic. But it works, consistency. 3 years later, I'm working on a book deal for a year and a half from now. Be patient. Like I said, it takes a while. And lastly, a great design. If your blog, your website, your photos, everything you do, your social media is well designed, well put together, it can go a long way. You look bigger than you are. And it's the vice versa if you don't have it. If you just have a photo from you drinking or having a dinner or like in an elevator, in a car, on your Twitter profile, your LinkedIn profile, that's stupid. You're missing out on a lot. So great design can go a long way, and tools like Canva or Snappa can help you create these things because they have lots of templates and whatnot. What do you guys think when you see Kanye West? Loudmouth. He's crazy, right? He says all the craziest stuff. In fact, he tweets a lot of dumb stuff right before his album launches, but that's for another topic. Gary Vee, he's freaking aggressive. He's in your face. He's like, just get shit done. Do this. Like, don't talk about it. Take action, right? That's what his mantra is. That's his unique voice. My voice is I like to do a lot of crazy stuff. I'm addicted to adrenaline. I like to race cars and skydive and all this stuff. Actually have a tattoo of how many bones I've broken. I've broken 17 bones. And I'm loud about it because that's what I can have a conversation about. It's something that's unique about me that probably most people don't have. And at the end, your personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Thank you guys, and be sure to download our ebook if you want to know more.
Sujan Patel, thank you. Any questions? Very good.
Hello, thank you for your speech. I've got a question about emails. You said that we should send them frequently. First thought of mine was spam. How about it? People,
Yeah.
I personally don't like to get many emails from one party about something. Recently, I had this situation. I logged in some portal, and then guy just sent it emails. Hey, get in touch. Hey,
Yeah, that makes sense. So that's a good point. So I mean, when I say build an email list, people have to opt in, right? Don't just email people with crap. Don't just put people on your email list. And the second thing is, when you're sending an email, it has to be valuable. That's why I use other people's content, curate content, and put the best stuff together, or what I think is the best stuff for that week or whatever, and choose your interval, right? So in some industries, if you're marketing to SMBs or SMEs, they don't check their email daily. They check their emails a couple times a week. So email them once a week, or if you email them more than once a week, they're gonna see the 2 emails from you the next time they check their email. So the interval is very, very important. I recommend starting bi-weekly, but only send content that's valuable, and only send it to people who have opted in. So that's why when you create that website, create an email capture form or use things like Sumo and welcome mat to actually catch email addresses.
I think during the Pipeline Summit, you had this as a topic, and you have shared a presentation about it through your Twitter. So that's what you could also have a look at.
Yep.
There was an extensive presentation on this topic shared through his Twitter stream. Question?
Over here.
I have one. If I start with all those tactics at once, then I would be set for failure. So with which one I should start?
Yeah, so
what would be the easiest one?
yeah, so don't start with all of them. That's incredibly hard to do 12 all at once and have a job and have a family or whatever and a personal life. Choose one from education and choose one from relationships. Whatever one you can do. When you're starting to build a personal brand and start doing something that's new or out of your comfort zone, just start doing one, the easiest one, whatever you think you can kind of excel at. So for example, emailing one person and letting them know why, letting them why you like them or what impact they've had on your life. Start with that one. Easy, right? Anybody can do it. Takes maybe 30 minutes. On the relationship side, on the other side, start with the basics. Get the website going and whatnot.
Thanks.
Sujan Patel, thank you very much for helping us moving mountains.
Thank you.